All right, ladies and gentlemen, what do you say we get the show started, shall we? That's right, folks. Right here, world famous Rich Wilson show, and it starts now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the world famous Rich Wilson show. I am Rich Wilson, and you're not. That's right, you don't want to be sometimes, especially the way I felt this morning when I woke up. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so I have got a special treat for you tonight. That's right. Of course, it's not like it's a surprise. I told you guys this was happening. I know some of you will be out there like, what's going on? Well, I told you guys last night what I was doing. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I have Gina Guzetta here tonight, and she is with the Vets with Pets homeless shelter that she has. And the cool thing about this is she has got a housing deal that what she does is she gets vets off the streets, gets them into housing, gets them help, and gets them reestablished. And so the point is to get them back up on their feet and get them back to living in the world. One of the problems we all know, and you guys heard me the other day when I was screaming at the TV at Joe Biden's VA plan that it's not enough. One of the problems I have with veterans with the whole deal with the United States military is they do not teach vets how to recycle themselves back into the civilian world. One of the worst things that happens to vets is they are basically, when their time is up, they pretty much have them go through, turn their stuff in, sign some paperwork, and they show you the door and tell you best of luck. Most of the time, they don't even tell you the best of luck. They just say, there's the door. So one of the things is it's always great to find out there's people out there trying to take care of our vets. Homeless veterans is a horrible epidemic in this country today. You'd think the people that serve this country, yours truly included, that do everything that we do and are willing to pay the ultimate price for people to enjoy their freedoms, is that this country would still remain to take care of us. We all find out as veterans that's not the case. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you see her up there on the screen. There is Gina. Gina, good evening. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. And yourself?
Oh, I'm still upright. No, I'm not in a box below the dirt, which is great because I don't have to worry about did anybody say something nice about me before they put me down. But body hurts like usual, but you know what? My eyes open and I was still breathing, so that means everything's good. So
Right.
Tell us about yourself and tell us about your organization.
Okay, well, Vets with Pets is a sober living house for veterans and their animals. Vets with Pets. Um, most veterans, their animals have become their family, like most of us, and they would rather stay on the streets than give up their animal. I understand this. So the house that I opened is for those veterans. I try and work with Desert Storm and after veterans. That's my target that I like to work in my parameters. It's my house is built in 1705. It's not ADA. Everything is, there's no wide doors. There's no, it's two stories. So I have rules, continent, ambulatory. Those are major things. I have 35 years medical experience, so I didn't go into vets blindly. I'm also a Marine brat. So, I know how we speak the same language. I know what everybody needs, and I'm a really good DI, so I run things fairly, but sternly.
Oh, you got vets. You have to run things sternly.
Yes.
I'm a vet. What you give us enough rope and we'll run
Yeah.
we'll run off to the ends of the earth with it.
Yeah, so I don't allow that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I make it very clear when you come in that there's only one person in charge, and that's me. And if you don't like it, you don't have to come through the door,
Mm-hmm.
because I'll find people that do understand it. And I'm, like I said, I'm a very fair person, but I'm in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And Marine has lived in my house for over 2 years, and it's his house, but it's my building.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's how we make the parameters.
I got you.
Yes, he is the house manager. He'll probably never leave, but it's my building, and I make the final say on whatever. I have a meeting once a week in the house with the guys. Anything that needs to be aired, any problems with the house, it all gets brought up on the one day a week. I'm usually there on Thursday. I'm actually going tomorrow on Wednesday because there have been community members that have been coming over on Wednesdays, so I'm missing them. So I changed my day from Thursdays to Wednesday because I want community members that have been coming over to be able to have interaction besides through Facebook.
I got you. Real quick, Ben, take care of your situation back at the house, and just to keep us on in the background if you need to. Sorry, one of my listeners who's a very regular and loyal follower, who's also a veteran, he's letting me know he's got a problem going on at his house he needs to take care of. So I was just letting him know, take care of what you got to take care of first, brother, before you deal with this. So okay, so keep going. I apologize for interrupting you.
That's okay, not a problem. So today I had a Zoom meeting with Franklin County because my house that I currently live in is in Phillips, Maine, and Vets with Pets is about an hour away in Rumford, Maine. And Franklin County, where my house is located, there are no recovery homes at all, or recovery centers, and so we are thinking about possibly turning my house that I'm currently in into a recovery / re-entry home for not just veterans and people in recovery, but also men coming out of Department of Corrections that have lost, say they did a 20-year stint. They don't have any place to go.
Yes.
They're clean most of the time, but they need a place to re-enter to. So that might become where I'm currently living. My heart lies with the veterans because it's the population I know best and I feel comfortable with. But if there's another direction that it needs to go to and not be called Vets with Pets, then I'm open to that as well.
Okay. So one of the things, me and you talked quite extensively before we came on the air. One of the things that I found was very interesting that you brought up is that you have not received a dime of money from the state or the federal government.
Not one penny.
Yes. So your operation operates solely out of your own pocket and the donations you receive from outside sources.
Correct. And rent from the guys.
Okay.
That's,
yeah. And you so and
I don't have any.
And that's one of the things you do, as well as you really institute back into them the responsibility of taking care of themselves and taking care of their own way.
Yes.
Which is good.
Marine, I could give you a prime example. When I met Marine 4.5 years ago, he was a hot mess. Mm-hmm. And if you watch the interview, you can see the pictures on there, what he looked like.
Yeah.
He was that veteran that you were scared of.
For anybody wondering about the interview that she's bringing up, if you guys go into Google, because I didn't put that link on here, I don't know why I missed that one. Where if you Google Vets with Pets, I've got your 6. It will be the first thing that pops up on Google. And you can watch the interview that she did, and yes, the one she's talking about, he was a mess,
hot mess.
Yes.
Hot mess, and he'll tell you he still is. He's just a more presentable hot mess.
Well, Marines are always a hot mess, regardless. It's just whether or not they're presentable or not.
Yeah, this is true, and I've helped him come a long way, baby, and now he can reside on his own. I'm there once a week. I do his shopping. When you have all your basic needs met, then you can create the bedroom euphoria he has with all of his computers and all of that stuff, because I take care of everything for him. I make sure everything is taken care of, so he has his sole focus on what he loves, which is computers.
I got you.
So
yeah, and I did see that in the interview, and I thought the reason why that's really stuck out to me is because, like we had just like I'd said in the opener, one of the things that they don't do, and I've been fighting to get this changed for a long time, is there is no support for service members when they get out. Unless you were tore up from the floor up to the point that you can barely walk, They
Yeah,
don't that
they're
the as far as they're concerned, the day your contract ends is their responsibility to you is over, and that's it, and it's done.
yeah,
And I
it's true.
and I've got a lot of friends that are veterans, and one of the things, it was a hard transition for me going back to civilian life, but I was able to get through it, and I was able to figure it out. And I have a lot of friends and I have friends that are still in now, and I tell them, dude, the day you go to get out, call me, talk to me, because it's going to be difficult for you. And they're like, oh, it won't be difficult. And I said the same thing, and it was
Yeah,
absolute nightmare going
yeah,
from
it
such
is.
a structured world where everything was there, your schedule was planned out, your meals, everything was there, and now it's gone, and
Yep.
there's nobody in command to tell you what to do anymore.
Well, come see me.
Yeah, and so I tell them, I was like, give me a call on the phone, and I said I'll be there for you. I always tell my friends that are still in, that are looking at getting out, save money now, start saving money, because you lose everything, it's gone.
Yeah,
Unless you're retiring and you were at least an E7 or higher, there's nothing. What you're going to get is not going to cover your expenses. It's just not going to happen. Um,
yeah.
and it's good to.
I'm Marine, and I use him as my example because he's been with me the longest, and I have all his permissions. He has a TBI, traumatic brain injury from
Mm-hmm.
Desert Storm 2. Um, but so he gets a VA pension for the
Mm-hmm.
rest of his life because he is 140% disabled. And people, when I first came into his life, of course, they thought that I was using it for his money. And my joke with him every month is, can I change bank accounts with you? Because if I'm using you for your money, I'm doing it wrong, because his bank account's always bigger than mine.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I'm not using him for his money, but that was always a big concern when I first came into his life was, oh, Gina's just going to use it for your money. So that it's a really hard thing, that when there are good people out there to help veterans, that they get accused of using them for their money. And
I,
it happens, and it's not only accused, unfortunately it happens a lot. And
well,
that's why the accusations are out there.
yeah, and one of the problems we have in this world right now is it seems like it's become a popular thing for people to be negative. Like
Right.
the first person to be negative, it becomes the popular one, and everybody tries to jockey for position on how to be negative. And I've seen that a lot. It has happened to me in certain circumstances. It has happened to people that I know that are just out there trying to help people and get drugged through. All you have to do once is say something that somebody doesn't like one time, and you are a constant hit piece at that point. I trust me, I've seen it, I've dealt with it.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate. That's why I like to bring people onto the show on Tuesday nights, to when I can get them, that are doing good things for the community, to get them to spotlight, especially community that I'm a part of, and it's the veteran community, because it just breaks my heart to see fellow veterans on the streets. And I don't have the ability to do anything for them personally. I try to get them directed to where they can get help,
Right.
because unfortunately, and somebody said, well, you can give them money. Giving money to a person that has problems, that's living on the street, is not the answer. You
No.
have to give them solutions, but you have to guide them to those solutions. You can't just say, oh, here's a paper, this is how you fix your problem. You've got to
Mm-hmm.
help guide them to that solution, because discovering that solution is on the road of recovery. Giving them a solution is not going to teach them anything. And it's kind of like the old religious adage: you teach a man, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he eats for the rest of his life. And
Right.
it's the same thing even across the board. And it's a matter of understanding, learning, and respect. And I really try to help my fellow veterans out anytime I can, but I'm limited in what I can do. I don't have a capability outside of that. Then you reached out to me, and I saw what you were doing, and I thought that was a great thing. Now, how many beds total do you have in the place that you're running now?
Right now,
Mm-hmm.
upstairs can have two beds in each, but Marine has his own room. And so right now I have one bed open because I am transitioning from the house that I'm currently in Phillips to Rumford because of the big pipe bursting episode that happened in January.
Yeah, you were telling me about
But
that.
if I turn this house into a recovery reentry house, then this house will hold 2, 4, 6 men as well as vets with pets. And whether or not the county wants to do it, I probably will open this as a recovery reentry house, whether they want to, whether they want to work with me or not. I'm probably going to do it on my own
Okay.
rather than opening it up as an Airbnb, which I could still make money, but I would rather work with the recovery reentry people versus just an Airbnb once a week, transferring it over and everything.
Well, right now, I don't think I would get into Airbnb if I were you. Anyhow, with the economy being the way it is, and now fuel prices up, vacations are going to start
Right.
sinking. So now
Right.
wouldn't be the time to do that anyway.
I agree.
But
But recovery reentry, no matter, it's not going to change economic wise.
mhm.
It's going to be there, and Franklin County does not even have one recovery house. And in Oxford County, where Vets with Pets is located, I'm the only recovery house in the entire county.
So you are definitely looking at putting more houses into
Yes,
function.
and I would love to, because I have 3 acres here in Phillips. What I wanted to do was make it a tiny village with
Mhm.
tiny homes in the back. I keep pointing the back because that's where my 3 acres is, back behind me. I wanted to put tiny homes in, but if, they could put in another house back there and another septic and well in here, because the septic and well only will sustain one house. But if we did another one back there, or continue it as a farm where they could sustain themselves and make money on, the animals and everything, and then have a skill set, that would work too. Just,
Yeah,
I have rheumatoid arthritis, and this mountain just is not conducive to my physical limitations
I got
anymore.
you.
So I'm closing my farm down, but my house is out here is a farm. It's a running homestead.
Okay.
So they
Yeah,
could do that too.
and that definitely would be something to look at, especially if you give them not only the ability to learn those things and how to do those things, but also give them a sense of pride and accomplishment that's what
You got it.
they're maintaining. And I tell you what, you give a vet, you give a person who's been in the service is something to be proud of again, and that they've accomplished again, and it brings
Yeah.
back a feeling of that wholeness they had before,
Right.
and
And
that
they're not as broken.
yep
I
because
did that with Marine. And so I do know that the 2 men that are currently vets with pets, we've given them house titles. Marine is now the official house manager, and the other gentleman um is the handyman, and we made him a certificate and everything.
mhm.
And just a title, and to know that, your value and you mean something has changed the dynamics in that house with those 2 men.
Yeah, well, I mean, you give that to a vet, that's like promoting them. And
Right.
anybody's ever served in the military knows promotion is everything. It
Right.
really is. It's very important to vets for those promotions. Now, there's some vets that I've met that they didn't really care about promotion because they couldn't keep their nose clean long enough, and but to them though, still that membership and then the recognition is everything. It really is.
Right.
Now, I do have a question for you, something I was wondering, and I didn't get a chance to really ask you beforehand, but now on this one, it's all men. Do you ever plan on opening one that will be set up for women?
Yes, I
Okay.
want to. In the state of Maine, there is only one house. It's called the Betsy Ross House for women.
I
And
know
so, yes,
I've heard of that house.
yes, I
Hmm.
very much want to open another house. But right now, I can't afford it.
I got
And
you.
the only reason why I would do this with this one is because I already own this land. I already
Mhm.
own this house, and I'll own Rumford the end of the year.
So people need,
I can't afford,
uh,
I mean,
and on your website, it has a place on the website because I didn't get a chance to really dig through the website a whole lot, but on your website,
mhm.
it has a place where people can make donations. Correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
All right, so folks, you can
yep,
see in the description of the video. If you take a look at the description, you'll see that the link to her organization is there on there. That will take you to her website. You also see in the bottom right hand corner of the screen here, I also have the picture from the website, and that's not a very big picture. I tried blowing it up, and it gets blurry.
Oh, of all my flags.
It,
Do you know somebody actually went on my patio and stole Marine's flag and the pole off of the front porch?
oh, that's no good.
All my other flags are there. They took Marine's flag. I'm so mad. I have reordered him one.
I was
but
getting ready.
Somebody went on the front porch.
I was getting ready to say, if you ain't got another Marine flag on your on its way to the house, you let me know, and I will have one sent to you.
I've already ordered it on Amazon, but thank you very much for the offer. I'm just so angry that somebody disrespected my veterans and stuff.
I don't know.
You can see my house has 15 flags in front of it. They went and took Marine's flag.
Yeah, they only took the one. Well,
yeah,
and
the pole.
I bet
and the pole.
I bet Marine's sense of humor about it was, well, at least if they're going to take one, they're going to take the best one, right?
That was kind of what he said.
I kind of figured, but
yeah.
The thing is, like I said, if you hadn't got one on reorder, I would have right then and there told you. I said, as soon as I get off the show, I got one. You got one coming.
Yeah, I already ordered it.
Okay, good.
It just made me mad.
But folks, make sure you go to her website, click on her link to make a donation. It's the only way the only way she could do this, and to make this even bigger than it is, it's going to take help from everybody out there to make this bigger, because you know what, we have women out there that are our sisters in arms that are homeless just as much as we do on the men.
Heroes. I heard that term the other day. Sheroes. I was like, that is so cool.
The thing is when I was doing the research today to get the photographs, because if you go back on, and you'll see the link where you can watch our interview later if you want, you'll see I have both veterans. I have the veterans that are homeless, and then I have veterans in uniform that are flashing up across the screen. Do you know how difficult it was for me to find a statistic on female veterans that were homeless?
It's horrible.
They
don't talk about it. And women put their name just as much on that dotted line as men do. I found every stat.
I found every stat in the world for men homeless. I found a bunch of them trying to claim that the United States government has curbed the problem significantly, which that's an absolute lie.
Absolutely.
But the thing is when I was trying to look at the disparity between the difference between male homeless veterans and female homeless veterans, there's almost no stats on female homeless veterans. And I'm like, wait a minute, they're veterans too. So why don't we have any stats on that? Like the Department of Housing doesn't even have a stat on that, but they have stats on male homeless veterans. And I thought that was disturbing. I was like, wait a minute, there's male and female vets. I could not agree with
you more. I could not agree with you more. And if somebody has another house laying around that they would like me to rehab to turn into a Vets with Pets for females, I would take it in a heartbeat. Okay. Because Vets with Pets, when I opened, needed a wrecking ball when I got it.
Now, did you ever think about later on possibly expanding outside of Maine?
I want to. I want to go coast to coast.
Okay.
That is the dream. The dream is to go coast to coast.
I got
There are veterans, 50 states, and I would love to have a male and female house in each state, if not more than one.
Mm-hmm.
I will. Because where Vets with Pets is located now, the VA is building an 8,000 square foot new medical center.
Mm-hmm.
It's within 10 miles. It's 5 miles away from my house. Because people that come in that are homeless or in recovery most of the time don't have a vehicle, so you have to make sure that there's a place for employment within walking distance, and that the veterans can get to a VA clinic.
Mm-hmm.
That's the important thing. They've got to be able to get their medical treatment, and I'm MAT, which is medically assisted treatment,
mm-hmm.
which means they can use medical marijuana, they can use Suboxones, and still be in the house if that's what they need to stay sober. As long as it's within medical parameters,
mm-hmm.
then that's allowed in my house.
Okay.
And will be across the country.
And you said they're building this facility not far away?
Yeah, in Rumford. It's currently being built in Rumford, Maine.
Okay.
And so they're going to be taking a lot of the strain off of Lewiston, Auburn, and also Augusta, which is Togus, which is the biggest VA medical center in Maine.
Okay.
They're going to be taking a lot of those, get more veterans medical treatment that they need, because right now they're in a basement office across the street from Rumford Hospital.
Oh,
and it's depressing in there. I've taken Maureen to that for his PCP, and it's not a very pleasant place to go.
no, I could tell you another one that actually I found was rather depressing was the VA clinic in Temple, Texas. It's a former hospital that they turned into a VA clinic, and when I was in there, the place just I couldn't believe the condition that it was in. But then fast forward, a friend of mine who was a veteran that had gastrointestinal cancer, and we got him help. We took him to the Biloxi VA, which is rated #1 in the United States of America. And it's like two separate worlds. And it's like, how can you guys have such a gorgeous facility here, and 9 or 11 hours down the road, you have a facility that I wouldn't take an enemy I had on the battlefield into that place. And
I have the same problem with, I started my medical world in Rhode Island, my purgatory on earth. And the VAs there are putrid. And I saw veterans being tied down to wheelchairs.
Real quick, hold on a second.
Sheets.
Hold on 1 second. Folks that are in the chat that are over on the YouTube chat, do not click on that link that popped up. Do not click on that link that popped up. There's no way for me to block all of them that keep popping up. That's a phishing link. If you click on that, they will gain control of your computer. Do not click on that. Okay, go ahead. I apologize.
It's okay. This is Antonio. He was on the interview. But they were literally tying veterans down to wheelchairs and stuff. I walked out of that facility in tears, and I'm a pretty tough woman. Mm-hmm. And I swore I would never go back to that facility ever again, because I could not stand how the veterans were being treated there. Then I moved to Idaho, and their veterans were treated like gold. Their facilities were top notch. And then I came to Maine, and they're much better than Rhode Island, but not Idaho. So I understand the differences, but so yeah, I can tell, the difference with what. Okay, Antonio, stop. Okay, stop.
All right.
With what's going on. And
I have I've got a couple comments floating around over here. Let's so I don't forget about the people that are chiming in. Dean Lynn, who's also a veteran, he's out in Seattle, Washington, says that I believe that if you serve the government, you serve the country, the government should provide you with a tax-free house and property.
They're not going to do that. But
of course not.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And then Super Dave, who's a friend of mine, who's also a veteran. In fact, almost every person that's chatting in tonight are all veterans. Super Dave also, he agrees with us. They don't do anything for you when you get out of the service, and they kind of just leave you to your own and hope and the funny thing is, they don't even hope the best for you. They just say, "See you later." I remember when I got out processed out of Fort Hood, quite literally they sped my out processing. Normally it takes up to 60 days to out process. They managed to out process me in 48 hours. And I literally, thank God I was married and had somewhere to go, and because otherwise I would have found myself out on the street in Killeen, Texas with nowhere to go. Because 48 hours later, I'm out of the service, after a career that I had. And it was just staggering what they did. But,
yeah.
So where can people reach out to you if they have questions for you, or if they want to get involved in the possibility of maybe looking at ways to open up one?
They can contact me on Facebook. They can contact me on my webpage. Mm-hmm. I can give you my phone number. Contact me directly.
I'm not going to give you your phone number over on the show because
it's on my Facebook page.
And people can go search for that. But if we put your phone number on the show, and God knows some rando Ukrainian Lithuanian gets a hold of it, next thing you know, you're getting bombarded with all these, hey, you have money over here, you need to get crap. So
Hmm.
what I
Yeah,
can
I understand.
what I can do though is I have the
Or they could email me. It's vetswithpets207 at gmail.com.
yeah, and
You know, it's,
you have a contact us link on your website too, correct?
I do. Yes.
Okay, so they just if you guys want to find out more, you want to get in contact with her, the link is in the description of the video. Click on that link and then go down to contact and get. In fact, every piece of information, including the address to the facility, is on the
Yep.
website. So
It
everything
is.
there to get in contact with Gina is definitely there for you guys to do it. And like I said, also donate as well because you could.
We could certainly use that
Oh yeah,
because we.
especially now, especially with everything costing so damn much. You
Yeah.
know, it's absolutely horrible. And then I haven't even taken the time to see what our I guess you call him our president had to say at the VA
Yeah.
here in Texas. I haven't had a chance to see that monstrosity. I'm pretty sure it's more that what he said that I would have been screaming that's not good enough, Mr. President. Which is why I'm glad I didn't know he was coming until today. I would have been there. Um, but yeah, no, what you're doing is a great thing. It really, really is. It's an amazing thing that you're doing, and I
Thank you.
really hope that this progresses and gets larger. I hope that I hear about your organization even here because I will tell you the homeless veteran population in the state of Texas is nuts. But then when you realize Texas has three of the largest installations in the United States of America population wise,
Right.
here in the state of Texas, and you get, like I said, a lot of people get out. They don't tell you how to handle your life, and
They don't.
a lot of them end up on drugs, and a lot of them end up on the streets. And
Yep.
I that's something we definitely could use here in the state of Texas. Is one of
Well, if
these
you know somebody
organizations.
that's got a place that wants me to turn it into a home, I give me the connections.
I
I
will
would love
definitely
to
send them your way. And
because, but with the prices of things, I can't go out and get a house right now.
well, I can tell you right
I bought
now,
these.
if anybody owns a property, being a person who owned his own business for a long time, if somebody owns a property and you want to donate it to her organization because she is a registered organization, guess
Yes,
what?
I
It's
am.
a tax deduction
Yep.
because the total value of that property is what it's listed at is a tax deduction on your taxes. So if you need to offload property to pay for taxes, and it's a property that can be worked with and turned into this, folks, that is a huge tax deduction right there.
Yeah.
Um,
I would love it. I mean, I would love, like I said, that's the dream. I want to go coast to coast,
gotcha.
and I want to have it for both men and women. But just like for reasons they don't put men and women together during boot camp, you don't put them together when the U.S. government has screwed them up. You keep them separate because that's just what you do.
No, and
So
when you're building that recovery and you're trying to re-educate yourself, you've got to keep things. You got to keep things in a program, and you got to keep things done in a certain way, in a certain order.
yes,
And unfortunately, if you try to intermix everything, then it doesn't go right because at least when you have a group that's the same mentality, it's easier to
mm-hmm,
deal with when situations arrive.
yep,
If you intermix that, then one program that may work for these may not work for the others, and now they're all intermixed, and now you're trying to balance both of them, and you're not properly serving either side because now you're not giving the right amount of time to make sure that the care
very
is
true.
taken care of. So, and that's amazing, an amazing thing to do. If folks, if you're in the chat room and you have any questions for Gina, please feel free to chime in.
Um,
Um, you know my rules: be appropriate, but ask away. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? I pretty much asked you everything I can really. Oh well, actually, hold on. No, there is one thing I didn't ask.
what's that?
What got you started into doing this?
Well, I'm a Marine brat.
Mm-hmm.
So my heart lies true to the veterans. I was a recovery coach in Rhode Island. I worked in the recovery field and was a weekend warrior where I come in and give the house manager the weekend off and take care of the house, and administer the drug tests and all of that fun stuff, and thought, you know, I'd like to do this someday. And you think being the weekend warrior that you can run a sober living house. It's a whole lot different when you own it versus being the weekend on call person.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just because I have the medical knowledge and the training. Um, Veterans are my heart because I know how to talk to them. They know how to talk to me, and there's a line. Um, and it's a population that I've always loved. So it just felt right. And I had somebody in my life at the time that was able to help me start to fulfill the dream and get the house up and running and make it livable. And so that's what I did.
Okay. Now you keep talking about how you're a Marine brat. So I take it your father was a Marine.
My stepfather.
Your
My
step.
father did 4 years in the Navy, but
Mm-hmm.
my stepfather, who is currently lives in Old Town, Maine, his name is Robert Shane. Um, he did 22 years, 20 something. I don't know. He went out as an EA. He was a DI in he was in El Toro and Tustin Air Station,
Mm-hmm.
and he imprinted on me as a very young child. Unfortunately, he left my life when I was very young, but he what he did and where I put him in my brain, um, always just where I wanted to give back. I
Okay.
wanted to work with the population that meant the most to me.
Yeah. And he was one of them the old school
Oh yeah.
Marines, and there's some
He
tough.
did 2 tours in Vietnam, screwed him up forever.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
I have a father that served in Vietnam, and that's one of the things that to this day, even me being a vet,
yep,
we can't talk about it, you know.
no,
And I really hope that when I became a vet and when I gotten out, my dad would be able to talk to me about his experiences. Nope. Still doesn't talk to
yeah.
me. Still doesn't talk about it, and I can't say that I blame him because I've heard from things that
And the flashbacks are horrific.
well,
So when you talk about it, you bring the flashbacks back,
and I've talked to my mother before, who's gotten some things out of him, and just based on some of the things that she has said that he has told her, no, I'm good. If he doesn't
yeah,
want to talk about it, I'm perfectly fine with that. You know,
yeah,
but me, being the child of a veteran is an interesting experience because some of these families who you're a child and your parents didn't serve, you'll notice that they have one set of rules, and then when you're a child of a veteran, you have a different set of rules. Like the
yeah,
leniency for parents that aren't you have a little bit more leniency. When you have parents that are vets, you notice your leniency window is not quite as big, and you're expected to be a lot more intelligent about things. Like, why did you do that? You should, And I've seen my friends that don't have vet parents, and it's like, wow, dude, I couldn't even think about if I had the thought of trying to get away with that, my dad would catch me.
yeah.
Dean says he served 6 years in the Navy, and his dad fought in World War II. Like I
Well,
said,
thank you for your service
a lot
and
of
my freedom.
well, hey, we do it so you can.
Yeah,
I tell people, it's still to this day when people sit there and most of the time I wear my hat, and I do wear a lot of shirts that's military oriented. I'll get somebody that walks up to me and says, "Hey, thank you for your service." And for me, still, it's kind of weird because I voluntarily joined. I did this because it's part of what I feel about being a member of this country is if you're willing and able, you should take part in this country. And so when people walk up to me and go, "Hey, thank you for your service," at first my brain's is like, "What? I thought everybody did that." And then I have to stop and go, "Oh, well, you're welcome. Thank you." And it's
right.
I don't know if any other vet has that problem, but when people do that, and it's kind of like, okay, you want to say you're welcome, but then does that sound arrogant? So should I just say thank you? So I just turn around and tell them thank you back, and and
Yeah,
it's difficult process. It's still difficult when I had somebody do that today, and I was at the gym that I was at, and the guy walked up and said, "Hey, thank you for your service. I'm in the middle of bicep curls," and I'm like, "Well, I can't shake your hand, so hey, thank you," and. But and the problem is, and my life is great. But if you walk up to a homeless veteran and tell him, "Hey, thank you for your service." I can't even imagine what the response at that point would be, because if I was homeless and you walk up to me and tell me thank you for your service, I'm going to kind of like, part of me is going to want to turn around and go, well, you could do more than thank me. You know,
Right.
a little bit of help over here would be nice.
But the proper help.
Yes, but the proper help. But
Not just not no. There has to be the proper help, because I've gone to Augusta where the homeless veterans are. And a lot of them want everything handed to them on a silver tray and want to do none of the work.
mm-hmm.
And so you have to meet me halfway, folks.
No, and I've run into that too. I ran into I delivered in Austin, Texas for a while, and there was a veteran at the same overpass every day, and I not eaten my lunch yet, and I had it sitting in the truck, and I gotten out of the truck, and I looked down, I said, "Have you eaten today?" And he said, "No," and I turned around and I grabbed my lunch and I said, "Here, have lunch," and the guy's like, "Well, I could use some money and I go buy my own lunch." I said, "No, I will give you some food. I'm not going to give you money, but I will give you some food." And he starts to bark at me. I said, "I understand something." I said, "You're talking to an E6. That's right. You're talking to Sergeant Wilson. Sergeant Wilson says that you need some food, trooper. Sergeant Wilson's going to give you some food, and you can motor on down the road, soldier." And then he immediately stopped at that minute. But then he still turned around after that when he got his mindset back, and he's like, "But I still want some money." And I said, "If I give you money, you're going to buy alcohol, you're going to buy drugs, you're not going to buy yourself a meal."
Right.
I said, "No, I'm going to give you food. I'm going to give you something to eat, because that is something you need."
Yep.
And the problem was, every time I stopped at that intersection, when he would walk by people's cars looking in their windows to see if they would give him any money, he'd come by my truck and walk right on by me. He wouldn't even stop. And it's because you have some of them that they just want you to give them stuff. And it's like, that's not going to help you.
No.
That you're going to be like this. And I have run into some that have said this is the life they choose. They would rather be this way than anything.
Yep.
I guess if it works out for you, I couldn't imagine living that life. I ended up homeless for all of about 4 days, and luckily enough, I was able to get a hold of a friend of mine, and a friend of mine took me in. So I don't really consider myself even remotely close to experiencing anything that they have. But I couldn't live that way. I couldn't choose to live that way. If I get stuck living that way, then okay, then I'll call you. But if I had a choice, I'm not making that choice. I'm going to choose something else. But there are some people that's their decision, that's what they want to do, and I don't understand it, but so be it.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't look like anybody's got any questions. So you got anything else you want to put out there?
No, I'm just, if you know anybody, like I said, the dream is to go coast to coast, and it's for both male and female veterans. So anybody willing to help, I'm here to help as much as I can. And the dream is to open another female house here in Maine and to go national.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, you know that the website link is here on the description, in the description section for the show tonight. I want to thank you very much, Gina, for being a part of this show. And
thank you.
I want to thank you for everything that you do for our veterans. As being a veteran myself, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for you doing this. It is amazing. Keep up the good work you're doing. I will make sure that your information is out there, and that the information always stays on my pages, so then that way people can always support you. All right.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You tell Marine up there that this Army sergeant said Semper Fi, Marine.
I will.
And that maybe I can send him a box of crayons. He'll get the joke. He'll get the joke.
He'll enjoy it. He likes anime.
Oh no! Let's see. The thing is, the joke with Marines is they eat crayons. You have to tell them in the book, don't eat the crayon.
Don't eat the crayons. All right.
All right. So anyway, you have yourself a wonderful night. Be safe, because y'all look like you're gonna have another winter storm coming your way.
Wow.
I know. It's like that's all you need is another one. But anyway, you definitely take care. And from everybody here at the Rich Wilson Studio, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Hey, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go nowhere. We're still on the show. We still got some more show to do, folks. That, like I said, that was Gina Guzetta. She's running the shelter up there in Mumford, Maine. Like I said, the link was located there. It's located there in the description, so check that out. Another thing I want to talk to you guys about that means a lot to me, and it's one of the things that I've been trying very, very hard to get the word out there, is 22 a day. How many people out there have heard about 22 a day? All right. Now, everybody so far that's been engaging in my chat tonight are veterans. Okay. So which means you guys, all of us should know this. But 22 a day, it's a statistic. It's not just a catchphrase. Okay. 22 a day, 22 veterans a day commit suicide is the average. One veteran suicide is too many. Folks, right there on the screen right now is a phone number for the crisis line. If any of my followers, any of my friends that are veterans are thinking about taking your own life, if you think that life is too much for you, you know how to get a hold of me. But there's a phone number up on the screen. Okay? And in fact, I will give you the phone number to the station, because I do have a phone number for the station. And I have to find it. I have to be able to bring it up. But I want you guys to keep this number in case you guys decide that you want to take you can't do it anymore, okay? The phone number to the station here is 352-585-9754. That's 352-585-9754. And if you didn't get it written down in time, you can go back and play this back and you can get the numbers. Okay? Life is a pain in the ass, and it's even worse for veterans. Why? Because we deal with demons that people can't even begin to imagine what we deal with. But ending our lives is not the answer. Okay? It's not. And if you know veterans out there that are struggling, there's a lot of veterans that have, there was a lot of veterans that may have been somewhat okay, and then after what happened with the deal with Afghanistan and stuff like that, a lot of them became not okay. Make sure you reach out to your friends that are veterans. Okay? Reach out to them. Tell them, you matter. Veterans' lives matter. And we need to keep everyone above ground. There is still a mission that is ongoing. And we're on that mission until the day we stop breathing. And remind them that they are still on a mission. They may not be putting on a uniform every single day like they were used to, but they're still on a mission. Remind them that there is still things that they have to do. Remind them that there is still a reason to be here. A lot of veterans think that all the demons and all the hell will go away simply if they just end their life, not realizing all the hell and all the demons it leaves behind for others. It doesn't just simply end with a barrel with a gun to the head, or something around the neck, or a blade. It doesn't end there. Trust me. I know. I've tried it twice. Veteran suicide is 22 a day is not just some random catchphrase. It's real. Folks, If you know a veteran, like I said, that's out there struggling, get in contact with them. Talk to them. Make sure they know you're there. Make sure they know you're there. That's one of the biggest problems a lot of times when veterans that suffer from this, they think they're all alone. They're not. And we need to make sure they're reminded of that. Yeah, for those of you that have my personal phone number, you know damn well if it comes to it, you better be calling me on the phone. You better be calling me. Like I said, I've been there. I tried it twice. Luckily enough, one of the things I suck at in this world was that. At least if you're going to suck at something, that's the one to suck at. But folks, I'm serious. We need to bring this to a stop. There's no reason that we're losing 22 of our brothers and sisters every day to the war that nobody hears. It's a war that goes on that's not on the news every day. It's a war that goes on that's not heard in the streets. It's a war that is constantly being fought by all of our veterans every day. Just because we signed out of the service and our careers came to an end doesn't mean the war is over. For many, many people, that war is still just as strong as it was the day that they actually lived it. I know. I also have a father who suffers that same war, even though he left the jungles of Vietnam behind. Those jungles of Vietnam came home with him. Don't let another brother or sister fall a victim to this war. We can win, but it literally will take all of us to win. Every one of us. Make sure that your brothers and sisters know that you're there for them. Make sure that they understand the fight is real, and we're in that fight with you. We're brothers and sisters for a reason, and it doesn't matter what branch of service we served in. Yes, we all give each other hell, but at the end of the day, we're all family. All of us. We all did something together that we all share. And it's time we started sharing this hell, and we start bringing this hell, we bring this hell to an end. All they need is a light at the end of that dark tunnel. Be that light. Remember, veterans' lives matter. 22 a day is 22 too many. Be there. Ladies and gentlemen, for everybody here at the world famous Rich Wilson Show, I'm going to call this a night. I don't think anything else needs to be said this evening. Just remember, don't let others determine who you are. You be who you want to be. But for everybody here at the Rich Wilson Studio, thank you, Dave, for everything you did tonight. Thank you to Kill Mill, Super Dave, Dean, everybody out there that was watching tonight or listening in while you're cooking your dinner or doing whatever you got to do. Thank you very much for being a part of this show, folks. For everybody here, you guys have yourselves a good night. We'll see you later.